Hello and welcome to setting a basic input level on an Avalon 737. This is primarily for the purpose of getting an input level and adequate compression level for recording a vocal. So I wouldn't normally record on a handheld mic like this, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to use this TLM 107. And likely because most of the vocals you record will be on a condenser microphone. So when you walk in, Avalon will probably be turned off. It's a good idea to turn it on when you walk in the room so it can start generating a little bit of internal current and getting a little warmed up. Not the end of the world if you don't have it on forever, but giving it a few minutes, 15 minutes is kind of ideal for getting it up to optimum temperature. So when you walk in, flip it on, get your rig set up, get the vocalist in, have a chat, talk about what you're going to do, and it'll be ready to go. Okay, so I've purposely messed this whole thing up in an effort to show you how to get this thing back in order so that you can be prepared to record a vocal, right? So for most of our purposes, we're going to start by bypassing all the EQ section. We're going to disengage the compressor section, and we're just going to be looking at getting a decent input level to begin with. So on the EQ portion, any lights happening over here can indicate that the EQ is engaged and potentially changing the sound of your signal. So best thing to do is disengage the EQ first. That switch will disengage the EQ. It's not a bad idea to just pull all of this stuff out. And if you want to be extra safe, just return these knobs to their zero positions. Okay, so this is essentially means our EQ section is disengaged. The next thing we want to do is kind of zero this thing out so that we're ready for input level. That means we need to disengage the compressor section, which is here, okay? On the compressor section, there are three buttons, okay? This button is going to take the compressor out, right? That disengages the compressor. However, there's a meter switch here. That meter switch controls what I see on the meter. And right now it's showing me compression information because the meter sits like this. If I disengage the meter button, it returns to input information. So that's what I want to see. And I'm not using EQ, and so I certainly don't need it to come in before the compressor, so I'm going to disengage that. All right, all the way back to the input section, the preamp section. Because I am using a microphone, I'm going to want to switch the input to mic, okay? Next thing I want to do is, because I'm using a condenser microphone, I want to engage the, well, actually, let's just get all the way to zero, right? Let's pull the filter out. Let's turn the high gain off. Let's just get this thing back to a blank slate. But because it is a condenser microphone and it needs 48 volt power, I'm going to engage the phantom power. Okay, so now I know I'm getting signal from the mic because I'm on the input. I have the input switched to mic. I have power going to the microphone, so that should be active. Okay, and what I'm going to do from this portion on in the video is speak into the microphone so that you see my voice register on the meter here. Okay, so I'm speaking into the microphone right now, and you can see there's nothing happening on the meter. That's probably because I need some more input gain, all right? So if I start to turn up the preamp gain, oh, look, there we go. You start seeing some of my voice coming in. So where the place I want to set this preamp gain is to where I'm kind of averaging out around the 0 point, okay? It's okay to push a little more than 0 because I am going to be reducing some of the volume once I engage the compressor, but I kind of want it averaging around 0. So I'm just going to try to talk somewhat consistently. And ideally what you'll do here is have your vocalist sing one of the louder passages in the song so that you can get this set up for their louder portions of the song. But I'm just going to check test 1 2 3 1 2 3, check test 1 2 3 1 2 3, check test 1 2 3. It's okay if the input level goes above 0 every once in a while, even hits 3 every once in a while. But I certainly don't want it laying over on the 3 like that. That's way too much input level, okay? So what I've got when I'm kind of, it'd be unlikely I'd use this for a spoken vocal, but that looks pretty good right there, okay? Input level set. We're done here. Now we move to the compressor section. Compressor section means I need to do two things. I need to turn on the compressor, which is this button here. That means the compressor is engaged. But I'm not seeing any compression information, so I'm going to engage the compression meter. Or I'm going to push the meter button. That'll show me compression information. All right. For our purposes and for most vocal recording applications, it's not a bad idea to just set and forget 3 of these controls. That's going to be attack. I'm going to set that to fast. Release. I'm going to set that to fast. And the compression ratio. This says compression, but it also says ratio underneath here. Don't misconstrue this with a like a threshold or anything. This is your ratio knob. I'm going to roll this down to 4:1 for a decent kind of starting out compression ratio. Okay. Next, I've got my threshold. Threshold is going. I'm going to start at the 0 position while my vocalist is doing their one of the louder parts of their song, and I'm just going to roll the threshold down as I'm checking the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and what I kind of want to see on this meter here is an average of 3 decibels of gain reduction. Okay, if I was pushing in on the input phase portion of this video, if I was pushing in occasionally 3 extra decibels, I kind of want to roll those back off with the compressor so that I'm averaging around 0 output on the entire Avalon. So if I say this was, I walked in and for some reason it's set here, I'm just going to have the vocal sing, and this is actually registering to my voice as I speak over the microphone, rolling this down, rolling this down, rolling this down till I'm getting about, averaging 3 dB of gain reduction. This looks pretty good right here. Okay. Compressor done, right? Last step in the process here is your output. Okay. So right now, the way the signal flows here is we're going from our preamp gain. That's feeding into our compressor section. I'm seeing compression information here. If I wanted to go back and check my input, I could switch the meter information back, and now it's going to show me an average level. Okay, this is because the compressor's engaged, it's showing me the input level compressed. If I release the compressor, you can see now I'm seeing the raw input level. But just aside of that, we're starting here, moving into the compressor, and we're bypassing the EQ section, which means the next point of call here is the output, right? You may come in, this may be rolled way down, it may be really hot. The output level is going to be dependent on what your interface needs, okay? Maybe I should have set up the interface for this video, but standard interface procedures apply here. Look at the input level on the channel you're recording on. If you have your vocalist checking the vocal and there's signal coming through and you're not getting a healthy level at the forte or your audio interface, just use a bit of the output gain switch, or knob rather, to get yourself to a healthy level into the audio interface. Okay, that's basically it. And in my experience, when it's set up this way, the output switch can remain pretty much at 0, and I can adjust input level on my forte up to a 0 level or unity level as well, and I'll get a nice, clean, healthy signal, healthy compression. I'm not over compressing anything. I'm catching the loud stuff. All of the rest of this compression EQ is to taste after this point. But if you're just trying to get a vocal session going, this is not a bad way to start.